From the smart assistants that wakes you up to the algorithm that picks your next movie, artificial intelligence is just everywhere. It's all designed to make our lives faster, easier, more efficient. But as these tools get smarter and smarter, are we actually getting smarter with them? Or are we just kind of outsourcing our own thinking? That's the huge paradox we're going to dig into today. So let's just get right to the heart of it. This is the big question, right? Are these amazing tools actually making us more capable, sharper humans? Or are we just getting more passive, letting the machines do all the heavy lifting for us? Okay, so let's start with the bright side, the optimistic view. The argument here is that AI isn't some kind of crunch. It's a revolutionary tool, just like the printing press or the calculator was. It's meant to augment our abilities and really push humanity forward. And this really breaks down what that promise looks like. So on one hand, you've got automation taking care of all the boring, repetitive stuff. That frees us up. It lets our brains focus on bigger, more creative ideas. And then you see how it's being used in really complex fields like healthcare to analyze data way faster than any human possibly could. So the end result is tech that actually enhances our own intelligence and makes things more accessible for everyone. It's one thing to talk about all this potential, but it's another thing to see the actual impact. So how does this all translate into real, measurable results for people out there doing their jobs every day? Well, a recent report from Thomson Reuters actually put a number on it. Get this, professionals who are actively using AI are saving on average 5 hours every single week. Just think about that for a second. That's more than a full workday you get back every month. That's time you can put back into deeper, more creative work. And that saved time, it has real economic power. Those 5 hours a week translate to an average of $19,000 in unlocked value for each professional every single year. So we're not just talking about convenience here. This is a serious, serious boost to productivity. Okay, now let's zoom out. When you scale that individual benefit up, the numbers just become staggering. In just 2 sectors in the United States, we're talking legal and accounting, the potential annual impact is a massive $32 billion. That is an incredible amount of human potential being unlocked. But that begs the question, what are we actually doing with all that freed up time? And that brings us to the other side of the coin. With all this powerful automation right at our fingertips, there's this growing concern that we might be letting some of our fundamental human skills just erode. Are we trading our own competence for convenience? I mean, take a tool so many of us use now, ChatGPT. It's amazing for brainstorming, right? For getting that first draft down. But the risk, as research points out, is that we become over-reliant on it. We might start to dull our own critical thinking, just accepting the first answer we get without really questioning it. Or think about the recommendation engines on Netflix and YouTube. They're fantastic for discovering new stuff, sure, but they can also lead us down this path of just passive consumption, binge watching, where we stop actively seeking out new and different things for ourselves. This whole paradox is captured perfectly in self-driving features like Tesla's autopilot. Now, while the tech is designed to improve safety, it can also create a totally new risk. A human driver who becomes less alert, who gets a little too confident in the system's ability to handle absolutely everything. And this leads to this really profound shift in responsibility, which is captured perfectly in this quote from Brian Greene. In the past, our limits were external. They were physical. Now, with these powerful tools, the only limits are the ones we choose for ourselves. Technology has made us so powerful that we're no longer limited by what's possible, but by our own judgment. And this brings us to the real heart of the whole issue. Maybe smart versus lazy is actually the wrong way to look at it. The real conversation we should be having isn't about what AI is doing to us, but about what values we are intentionally building into it from the very beginning. And that leads to this incredible concept, value inherence. Think about it. In the past, a company's ethics were a separate document, right? Like a mission statement on the wall. But with machine learning, the values, the biases, the ethical decisions, they are literally part of the product's programming. With AI, the ethics aren't just a policy, they are the product. This image visualizes it perfectly. Our values can't just be something we bolt on at the end. No, they have to be the very roots from which the technology grows. So this forces us to ask entirely new and, frankly, much better questions. We have to move beyond just, is it efficient? And start asking, is it fair? Is it responsible? And how do we make sure these powerful tools are built to serve everyone, not just a few? So, where does all of this leave us? Well, the consensus really seems to point towards a future that isn't about replacement, but about a brand new kind of partnership.
Yeah, the ultimate goal here is to embrace AI as a collaborator, a tool that assists us, that handles the routine stuff, but doesn't substitute for our core thinking, our creativity, or our critical judgment. It's about augmenting humanity, not just automating it away.
And so we end right here. We're at a crossroads where we literally get to be the architects of our own future. And maybe that's the ultimate paradox of AI. In our quest to build a machine that thinks, we're being forced, more than ever, to think about what truly matters.